I want you to be happy. Who feels like they're working too hard for happiness right now? Yeah. Nothing you're going to achieve is going to give you more. You're going to learn a new way to choose and summon happiness, because a power plant doesn't have energy, Yeah. Could you generate energy of happiness each day more often? You got to find out a way to do that, whatever it is for you. Like for me, I'm not a big social media consumer. If I go on social media, do you know what the first thing I do when I go on social media is? Brendon Burchard, high performance, ultra, edge, performance guy. Do you know what the first thing I do when I go on social media? Every day, do you know the first thing I do? Search for funny cat videos for my wife. First action. I don't like social media that much, but I'm like, okay, I know she enjoys this. This is points. If I deliver a good cat video to my wife, I'm good. I mean, that's like 10,000 points. I just need one good one. And I look for excellence in this category. I find one, man, I'm sending that thing. I got points during that day. And you know what? Inevitably, it makes me laugh my butt. I just laugh and laugh and laugh and laugh. It's so funny. Simple. For her, that will make her happy for like an hour and a half. A cat video. A cat video. Simple little things that we have to learn, you know? How do you find your happiness each day? How do you find it? How do you create it? How are you tapping into it? This might sound like, yeah, Brendon, but please, because most people, when they get that success, they find out that the thing didn't give them the thing they had to generate. See, it's not about generating the money to give you the happiness. It's about generating happiness with a period. And then, when people learn how to do that, then it all feels better. It's all more amazing. I know we take it for granted here because many of you are in personal development, and I didn't do something this morning I usually do, so I'd love to do it because it'll give me a shot of happiness this morning. I mean, those things, those dreams. And you know, I know you'll have the dreams of the big things that you want to do, but also, I'm like, could you put this as one of your big dreams, please? Would you do it, yes? One of your big dreams. Capture right now. What's 3 things you do to generate happiness? Better. What's 3 things you could do to generate happiness every day? I know it's so simple. Let's just start there. I promise we'll go a little deeper. 3 simple things you could do to generate your own happiness every day. Could you write it down? Okay. Let me ask another question. What's 3 things you could do to generate confidence every day? 3 things to generate confidence every day. What would be something for you that would make you more confident as you go throughout the day? Okay. You've now written 6 things from your own mind about how to be happier. You've written 6 things of how to be happier or confident, right? Now watch this. Around the room, raise your hand if you consistently do these 6 things in your life. Be honest, consistently. If you consistently do them in your life, be honest, on a weekly basis, like very consistently, stand up, just so I can gauge where we're at with these 2 things. Okay, let's look around. Your definition of consistency. Now, either you're hard on yourself and you just don't give yourself permission to recognize that you do these things, or maybe your practices really need to reorient, because so many of us don't have practices towards the basics. I really believe happy, confident people are extraordinary. They're so different. They're so unique. They're coming from a place of different access and flow. They're stepping into the best of who they are. And happier, more confident people, not only are they more productive and high-performing, higher earning over time, which we can measure from research, super simple, very, very simple. Happier employees who are more confident lead to way, way outstanding performance in every industry around the world. Doesn't matter the culture, doesn't matter the industry, all around the world. If you're happy and you're confident, I mean, those are 2 huge pieces. If you add the ability to have also social intelligence, meaning you know how to communicate well and have good influence, meaning you know how to treat people well and lead, we're talking like you're outstanding already. But if you don't have those practices yet, let me suggest something to you as a starting point, and then we'll go on to where we're living our lives. My suggestion to you is maybe it is time to raise your ambition. Maybe it is time in your life, wherever you're at, whatever is going on, maybe it's time. I'm going to do that red one again. Hold on. Oh, see? It just fell apart. You saw that? Do you know that's why it was so strong? Because this part was already open. So, I mean, it's not that I was just being weird. It was actually the canister was open, people. Let me just make sure it's cracked a little bit. Okay. Raise your ambition. A lot of people think ambition is a bad word. No, ambition just means you have desire for something. Ambition doesn't have to mean you want more. Ambition can be you want more depth, right? Ambition doesn't have to be these big crazy cars or islands or jets. Ambition can be, I want to repair that relationship with my spouse. But very few people ever had ambition to be really happy. They wanted ambition to get something, not to be happy. Raise your hand and follow. It's different. I want you to raise your ambition to be happy. Raise your ambition to be confident. You can be way more confident. This, for me, speaking, was terrible. Terrifying. I said at one point in my life, you know what? I need to learn to talk in front of people. Because after I came back from my car accident and live, love, matter was a big part of my mantra, I thought, okay, if I'm going to matter, if I'm going to make a difference, I have to learn to talk to people. I was very awkward. I didn't know how to talk and communicate with people. I'm like, I'm going to have to learn how to do that someday. Because if I want to matter, if I want to make a difference, I have to learn how to communicate. I have to learn how to communicate with my family. I have to learn how to communicate with the team. I have to learn how to communicate if I want to volunteer or make a difference. I'm going to have to figure that out. That's a big leap for me. So I want to see myself and envision myself one day confidently speaking on a stage. Someday, I will confidently speak on a stage, and I will like it. I will be happy doing it, not mortified, happy and confident on stage. Could you imagine? I couldn't even talk. I had that ambition. The last couple years really lowered people's ambitions. I mean, really low. I meet capable people, confident, powerful, extraordinary people, and they've lost their ambition. They're like, I don't know. You know what they say? Why even try? Why even try? You know what? Every time I try, guess what happens? The world screws me. You know what? Someone takes advantage of me. You know what? Things change again. You know what? The government raises taxes. You know what? They shut down something. You know what? They lie. You know what? She takes this, he does that, this happenings. And so many times in the last couple of years, you got disillusioned. You got discouraged. And I'm here to tell you, even in a room like this, who think they have big visions. It's why Ed brought it up this morning. Where there's no vision, people perish. Most people right now, their vision for themselves, too small. You don't even know how capable you are because you haven't been on the field yet. Or you haven't been on the field at this level of your life. Raise your hand if you know what I'm talking about. Right? Because you want that merry-go-round of comfort a little bit. It's just easier, right? I'm not going to put myself on a stage. I might be embarrassed. I might screw up. Or you might say, you know, I want to try that business, or I want to talk to that mentor, but I don't know, you know, who am I? I'm a kid from Montana. That's what I used to do. I'm just a kid from Montana. I'm too young. I don't have the degrees. I haven't achieved the things. And so I would talk myself down. Who talks themselves down? Be honest. Yeah. Listen. You got to raise up your ambition again. Because confidence is not that you've done it a million times. Confidence is belief in one's ability to figure things out. When you start believing that you can figure it out, see, I didn't think I could ever speak. Like, I'd be natural at it. What I thought was, I could figure that out. When people do that, they must have learned how to do that. That's always my assumption. She must have learned how to do that. He must have learned how to do that. I've never in my life said, they have such natural talent. I've always like, someone taught them. They learned. They figured it out. So what area of your life is not working right now? And if your confidence, I just want to let you know, if your confidence is a 7.4 in this group, you're not going to will yourself to figure it out. If that area of your life that you know you need to figure out and it's painful, and you're dialed to a 7.4 in confidence, I promise it's going to be a problem 2 years from now. I promise it'll be a problem 3 years from now. Unless luck and grace solves that for you, I'm here to say that is not sufficient. That is not sufficient. Not to take on the big things you want. Who wants to take on big things in your life? Yeah, turn the person like, shake them good and say, take on big things. You got to take on big things. And I can tell why you don't. I can tell where you get stuck. Because you know what? There's 3 kinds of life. There's 3 mental modes we get stuck into. And as soon as you know them, and as soon as you recognize them, you're like, ooh, I don't want to be there anymore. I got to shift that. And I went through all 3 of them. Trust me. I know. And on any given week or any given year or any given day, we can all go through them. But when I got it, I recognized myself in them. And I thought, that's not the life I want to build for myself. See, for those who are wondering about personal change, there's 4 gates to change. The first gate we're about to go into. The first gate of change is called awareness. Where there's no awareness, there's no change. We got to recognize where we're at, recognize how we're thinking and behaving and showing up if we're ever going to actually shift and change. I'll tell you where I was at most of my youth and most of my even early 20s without knowing where I was at. I was in a particular kind of life. I'll represent them on 3 different areas of the stage just so you can keep up with me a little. Is this too much or you guys are all good? It's good? Okay, you ready to do the work? Let's do the work. Here's what I discovered. There's 3 kinds of life. The first kind of life, let me describe it before I give it a label for you. The first kind of life is the type of life where something happens to us, the events of our lives, right? Where we grew up, how we're treated, what's going on even in our current life, where so many things have happened that we did not want, that we start to feel like victim to life, but not, I know people don't like that word these days, but let me describe it in a different way. You feel like you're kind of like trapped and disadvantaged at a certain level. And I know all these words have lots of hooks, so just bear with me for a minute. And what happens is you like, at some point, there's a barrier between you and everybody else. And sometimes that barrier, like what happened for me, you build up to protect yourself. My heart got broken as a teenager, so I spent all of my 20s at a distance with love, right? I built up an emotional barrier to keep people out because I didn't want to get hurt. So I think I'm keeping out the bad guys, but who can't get in? The good guys, right? I'm blocking people out because I got hurt one time. And I'm watching all these relationships and I'm thinking, she's happy, he's happy, they're happy, why can't I be happy? It's so unfair. It's so unfair. And then I had some failures in my life. And when I had the failures, I thought everyone was watching me. And I was like trapped. And I didn't know what to do about it. And they were judging me constantly. And at some point, this life starts to feel like what I call the caged life. You feel trapped in a certain mindset, trapped in a certain career, trapped in a certain relationship, trapped in a certain body, trapped in a place, let's go there mentally, where you just don't want to be. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Yeah, you're just like, this is not what I imagined for myself. And so you're kind of like behind the bars, holding on the bars, looking out to the world. And at some point, it's like, it's so unfair because before you felt free. There was a point in your life where you were like, you were free, you were happy, you were joyous, you were young, you were flowing. And then something happened, that job, that career, that person, that situation, something threw you in there. And I always say it's like putting a wild animal in a zoo. They get thrown into the zoo, and at first, what do? Wild animal in the zoo all the time, same thing. When they're thrown in there, they're at the front of the bars, they're at the thing, bouncing up against it, gnawing at it, grabbing it, they're shaking up, like they're trying to get out. They're like, I don't want to be here, and they're angry. They're angry. They're like, let me out. I don't belong here. This is not right. And they act out. They butt up against things. They're fighting. They're fighting. And then what happens is the people are all walking by and no one's helping them. Everyone's walking by, no one's helping. Everyone's walking by, no one's helping. Everyone's walking by, no one's helping. And then they start seeing, wait, no one else is in cage, what's going on here? And then they're just like get confused. And what do? You fight and you fight and you fight, and then one day you're like, oh, I'm tired of fighting. And so you kind of go back of the cage, and sometimes you come up and you rattle the hell out of that thing. And then other days you're like, I just don't have the energy anymore. I don't have the energy to keep fighting this battle. And then you go back and you fight, and then you release back. Who recognizes this pattern? It's like that fight and then stepping back. That stepping back at some point becomes what's called psychological resignation. You are resigned to the fact that this cage, this box, is your reality. The marriage is always going to be this way. My finances are always going to be this way. I'm always going to be fat. I'm always going to be this. I'm always going to be that. There's nothing I can do. It's never going to change. No one cares. It's always going to be this way. Why does this keep happening to me? I'm just stuck here. And then something continues where it gets worse, where now you're resigned. It's just going to be this way. And then more and more people go by, and you see all these other people getting successful. You see her being happy. You see them on social media succeeding. You hear your friends down the block did something better. And all of a sudden, you start thinking you're behind here, stuck, and you start pointing, and you start thinking at them, and you know what you do? Another step back in the cage. And now, something really dangerous happens. You become bitter. Sure, she can do it. Sure, he can do it. Look at him. Sure, they can do it. They came from this place. Sure, they can do it. And you start becoming this person. Because when you were in the cage, you felt like they were pointing at you sometimes, but now you're back at them. And division starts happening. You start really separating yourself from people. You become bitter. Someone was a jerk for you so long, now you're just bitter against everybody, not just that person. You failed so many times, you're just bitter at the world. Why is everyone else succeeding? Why is this happening? What's going on? And you're always looking for an answer. Always looking for an answer. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is that? Always looking for it. Always looking for it. Why? You're always on the why. You're just always on the why train. You're just stuck. Why is this happening to me? So unfair, so unfair, so unfair, so unfair. And that bitterness becomes, you know what? The world is unfair. People suck. I didn't deserve this. F it. That's what you do. And then it gets worse. You sit in that for a while, and your mindset goes back another few steps. And now you're so tired of it, and you're so exhausted about it, and you're so angry, you're just in the back of the cage. And you're looking. And you think, they don't understand. These people don't understand me. They don't understand how hard this has been. They don't understand my life. Because when you're in the cage, you start telling yourself that you're lonely. You tell yourself you're the only one in a cage. You think you're there alone, forgotten, abandoned, left. And that bitterness and that resignation, it adds up. Turns into a weird kind of anger and sadness. Anyone know what I'm talking about? It's like very depressing because you don't think you can get out of it. And the worst thing is when you're back here, you start saying, they don't understand. No one cares. And if you think they don't understand and no one cares, guess what you never do? You never come back up to the bars and raise your hand. You never ask for help anymore. And I can tell you from personal experience, when you're back there, that's where the worst of it happens. When you fight and fight and fight, and then you become resigned, and then you become bitter, and then you become sad and angry, and you think no one can understand, you know what you do? You get very depressive thoughts, and you often get where I became suicidal. No one can understand. I actually believed as a teenage boy that no one could understand my heartbreak. I really did. I didn't think any of my friends could understand what I was going through because someone cheated on me. I thought no one could understand. Years later, do you know how many people, millions of people have DM'd me and messaged me, oh, someone cheated on me too. And at the time, I thought, anyone ever think you're the only one going through it? You think you're the only person going through it. I'm here to tell you the hardest thing, the hardest job I have as a coach. I say this to all my audiences, the hardest thing. Everyone's like, what's the hardest part of your job? I'm like, the hardest part has been sitting down parents to tell them they're not the only ones who ever lost a child. Sitting down people to tell them, you're not the only one who lost someone to cancer. Sitting down to someone, you're not the only one who got stolen from, cheated on, broke. You're not the only one who went bankrupt. You're not the only one who sinned. You're not the only one who got abandoned and mistreated. You're not the only one. But if you feel like you're the only one, if you feel like you're in this fight alone, you're already fighting a way harder fight. And that's where people are. They don't realize it. And I know not everyone will like the metaphor of the cage, but maybe for some of you, a different way of saying it is you've got the shield up. You might be proud of your shield. Some people are very proud. Brendon, I don't trust anybody. They're so proud of it. Do you know what it is? That person, they're back here. They just have a bravado about it. Because some people, they're in their cage, hey, all day long. Oh, man. They think they're something special because you know what? The cage can also be called, it can be called the cage, it can be called the ego, it can be called the barrier that you build up. Yeah, it can be called that narcissistic ego that just think we're the only ones. No one can understand, my team can't understand me, so I ask them for help. I'm so special, right? That's the sad truth about the cage life. You think you're so special, so not only will you not ask for help when you genuinely need it, you also won't trust anybody anymore, including yourself, because you've rattled the cage before. It didn't break through. Because you asked for help before. She didn't show up. And so you lost trust. And a lot of people, these last couple of years, they lost trust. They lost trust in themselves. They lost trust in the governments. They lost trust in pharmaceutical. They lost trust in their neighbors. They lost trust in humanity. They lost trust in everything because of social media. And I'm here to tell you, if you have lost trust in humanity and yourself and other people, do you think it might be affecting any of these things? Like, your happiness is tied to, do you trust yourself? That's the stuff of congruence and integrity. Your confidence is tied to that. And I'm here to tell you, if you've been stuck in the caged life, and again, caged life, you might not like that label, but it just means you feel kind of trapped. This is where people also go, Brendon, when they're in resignation. You know what people say when they're in resignation? They say, Brendon, you don't understand. I've tried everything. That's my favorite one as a coach. You tried everything? God, that's amazing. Good job. Good job. I tried everything, really. Show me the list. What? Well, show me the list. What do you mean? Well, I tried everything, Brendon. I know, show me the list. Because if you tried everything, you must have kept a detailed Excel spreadsheet to know what items were mutually exclusive, to know that you did everything. And you know what, most people, I tried everything. You tried 3 for 3 weeks. You tried 6 for 6 months. And I'm here to share this with you. You got to know if you've been in this cage, if you felt trapped, and it's time to rattle the cage again. It's time to come back. It's time to step up. Everyone stand up with me. It's time to rattle this cage again. It's time to get in this place again. It's time to let's hold these bars and go like, okay, I'm back. Everyone shake this and go, I'm back. I'm back. You got to re-engage. You got to re-engage. Hey, you ever see those little pictorials? You can stay standing, it's okay. You ever see those little pictorials of heaven? You know, there's like a cloud, there's like an angel there, and then there's like the gates to heaven. You ever see that? You don't have it pictured in your mind real fast? You ever see those images, the gates to heaven? Did you ever notice something in those pictures? I always notice it. You ever notice something? They're not that high. Do you ever notice that? The gates in heaven in every picture, they're not that high. I look at them like, I could climb right over that thing. You ever notice that? That's what you do. You think you're fighting these bars that are huge, and I'm like, that's the thing you're trying to get over? You lost confidence. You can step over these things. You are so much bigger than you imagined. You just have to unlock again. You got to crank that confidence back up again. You got to turn it back on again. You just forgot. You got discouraged. You got disillusioned. You kind of got upset because other people got ahead faster, and you see them managing it better. I'm here to tell you, if that's where you're at in any way, describing you, a little lost of trust, or kind of like you feel like you're holding back, or the foot's not on the gas pedal, something's going on for you, I'm just here to say, you got to shake that thing. Shake it again, shake it again, shake it, shake it, shake it, shake it. You got to be like, let's go. Let's go. You got to shake that thing. I'm here to tell you. I am here to tell you something. I'm here to tell you something. You are way stronger than you think. Way stronger. And you think you are dealing with the insurmountable? It's not that high. And 90% of the time, when I show up in your life, I kind of walk into the cage. I'm like, what's going on? And you're like, oh, these people, and it's so terrible, and bastards, and it's unfair. And I'm like, oh, man, what's going on with you? Oh, well, I've been in here, and I go, yo, there's a door right there. That door is personal growth. That door is asking for help. That door is the things you know you already need to do. That door is eating better. That door is sleeping better. Meditation, exercise, diet, sleep, getting around a group of people like this. That door. But so many of you, you're caged into a concept of yourself that somebody else gave you. You're caged into a concept of yourself that somebody else gave you. And you're so scared to rattle it because what would my family think? All these people know me for this certain thing. If I change it, oh my God, what will they think of me? And we're so scared of rejection, right? We think, oh my gosh, if I shift it, what are people going to say? Because how many of you have been waiting to do a pivot or a major shift, but you're scared, you're worried about it, you're like, ugh. And often you'll say that. If you're caged, you're like, oh, no, Brendon, people don't know me for that. People don't know me for that. Have a seat, and I'll tell you a little story. It's my favorite metaphor. People don't know me for that. I go, babe, nobody knows you. Oh, I can't do that because people don't know me for that. They know me for this. I go, nobody knows you. Well, my neighbor, I'm like, well, how does your neighbor really know you that well? That if you want to do something to find a little more happiness and joy in life, that if you wanted to shake the cage and make a shift, that they would judge you that much? If they know you, they wouldn't judge you that much because human lives are variable and we shift. My favorite story about that is the goofy, some of you know I got to work with Paula Abdul, the famous musician and dancer and TV personality, back when she was on American Idol. And the funny story there was, we were on American Idol, and at the time, this famous segment went off. Now I tell this story, it still cracks me up every time because I see it. And what happened was this little Samoan girl, her lifelong dream was to be on American Idol. Lifelong dream. She was so excited to be on American Idol. She couldn't wait. She said she'd watched it her entire life, and she was like, I don't know, 9, 10. My whole life I watched it. Oh my God, it's my dream to be here. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. And she's brought her family with her, including her 2 huge Samoan brothers. Big, huge guys, 300 pounds, big dudes, right? And the producers cut this particular segment together so well because she's about to go in, and this is back when it was like Randy and Paula and Simon, right? Back in the day. I know I'm old. Okay, just listen. I promise. I'll get there. And the producer keeps cutting this weird shot. I couldn't figure out what the producer was doing with the shot. And what had happened was, on the outside of the audition room, was big Samoan brother, and between them, Ryan Seacrest. And on the inside, this little, whatever she was, she's explaining, this is my dream, she's about to sing, and of course you're waiting, you always hope she's gonna be amazing, right? You just like, oh my gosh, her whole life she's waiting, I hope she's so amazing, I hope she just kills this, right? I can't wait to see this, I can't wait to see her sing. So she's about to sing, and they keep cutting back to the brothers. I'm like, why are they doing this? And she's still going on about this is her dream. And then, so she starts singing and everything. She does a good job, really good job. And then they cut back, and I finally figure out why they're piecing it together. Because here's Ryan Seacrest. Now, mind you, this was her entire dream. So you know she's talked about this guy and this show her whole life to her whole family. And now they've all traveled to be at the audition, right? But here's the big 2 Samoan guys, And there's Ryan Seacrest, and one big guy looks down at Ryan Seacrest between them and goes, so, who are you? At the time, Ryan's the biggest TV personality in the world, on the biggest show in the world, the show that the brother, the sister had been talking about her whole life, didn't know who Ryan Seacrest was. It was the funniest moment of television I've ever seen. It reminded me, no one knows you. No one knows you. I've walked up and down the streets with the biggest musicians and celebrities in the world. No one knows. They got a hat on. No one knows you. They're not scared to try a new way of doing things. In fact, their confidence in their ability to figure things out, to try new things, is why they're successful. Think about this. That's why they're successful. That's why they're successful. Think about like the biggest musicians in the world when they change their style. Anyone ever listen to Mick Jagger's reggae album? Do you know the Rolling Stones, the rock and roll band? Do you know he did a reggae album? At the height of Mick Jaggerness, he did a reggae album. That's why he's great. He didn't go, no one knows me for reggae. He's like, man, that'd be a challenge. Let me confidently attack that. Let me try that. It's a pretty good album too, but no one knows it. Did he go, I can't do that because I'm already famous and known? See, the flip side is you go, well, no one knows me. I have no influence. I have no worth. I have no capability. I'm just starting out in this area. I don't want to be embarrassed. I tell people all the time, very few humans have fear anymore. We tell ourselves that. Most people actually have acute worry, but not fear, right? The psychological and the physiological are different, right? That old metaphor of we're not being chased by a saber-toothed tiger. Our real fear now is the cyber-toothed tiger. We're scared of being judged on the internet. Most people, they don't have fear. They're embarrassed to be seen starting small. If you want to come out of that cage, guess what it's going to look like? Poof, kick the door, one step. And you're going to be like, you're going to walk in, you're going to shock people. You're going to shock people when you make a change. You're going to shock them. And the question is, does that bother you so much that you won't make the change? Are you so scared of shocking others that you won't make the change that your family, your business, your dreams, your lifestyle, your bliss demand? Do you know how hard it is to say no? It's really hard. It's so hard to say no. But if you don't, you'll ruin your bliss. And now you know what you're caged in. Here's your cage, high performers. Ugh, I'm so busy. High performers never think they're in the cage, and almost every time I work with them, they're in the cage. This audience in 7.2 and 7.4, you're in the cage. You might not know it, but if that's your score, and I know that's not everyone's score, but that's the average for this particular group, that's low, people. And so we don't think high performers, no. If you're burned out, you're in the cage. You're trapped in the expectations of other people or trapped in unfair expectations of yourself. If you keep burning out, you're trapped into a pattern. Raise your hand if you follow that one. If you keep burning out, you're trapped into a pattern. You haven't found a good way to do it yet. I said when I began this career, I said, I'm not going to burn out. I'm not going to be that guy. All my big mentors and heroes, they always talk about how wrecked their life was and how busy they were, and they didn't have any vacation time, and none of their, family talked to them, and there was all these things, and I was like, holy moly, I don't want to get in that life. How do I control for that? Now, we all have times of intensity, right? Times of intensity where it shifts. You're on the roller coaster, like Ed talked about, for sure. But many people don't realize how burned out they are because they're trapped in other people's expectations, because they are trapped in the concern of changing. And my hope is you find a way to rattle that again. Can we rattle your ambition back? Can we rattle your happiness back, your confidence back? Can we rattle something inside? I'm not going to do anything forceful about it. I want you to find it. I want you to tap into that. I want you to get there. I want you to give yourself that gift. I want you to give that stuff the gift. I'll keep coming back to this concept over the next couple of days. I said there's 3 types of life. Is this too much? You guys are with me? Say, I'm here. Okay, tell the person second and say, rattle that. Okay, second type of life. Second type of life, which most people think they're in, is the comfortable life. Not the cage life. They're more comfortable. You know, they got a job. They're seeking or found a spouse or partner. You know, the kids aren't screaming at them all the time. It's like, you know, the comfortable life. Like, things are going pretty good. Raise your hand if things are going pretty good. See, a lot of this group, too, in the happiness department, things are going pretty good. They're not terrible. They're not a D-. They're not an F. They're not an A or B, but they're pretty good. A 7.2, pretty good. And pretty good, by the way, it's like the comfort zone. You know, when you're in that comfort zone, like Ed talked about, maybe that merry-go-round, you know, it's a little bit more comfortable. And if you want to know, if you want an illustration of where your life is, let's talk about that comfort zone, because I think people don't understand it. And I can explain, who would like me to explain in one slide, this is my slides, all of your results in life? Oh, okay, I'll skip it. I'll go to the next one. Okay, let me explain every result you have currently and have ever gotten in one little ladder. Ready? Okay, watch. There's things that are in our comfort zone. Okay, this is basic personal development 101. I promise I'll go beyond it. Just catch up with me for a second. Because remember, common sense is not as common practice. So there's our comfort zone. And by the way, what bothers me so much is everyone speaks down to the comfort zone. The comfort zone is also where your unique abilities lie, where your unique talents lie, where you just do things and it flows. It's like a strength or a passion. It's a talent. Don't bemoan that. I spend a lot of time with athletes trying to get them back into that comfort zone. When everything's really intense and chaotic, I want them to be flow. I want them peaceful. I want that Bruce Lee-like water thing going on. You know what I'm talking about? Some of you know what I'm talking about. Like, no, I want you to be centered and comfortable in the uncomfortable, right? That's basic stuff. That's basic stuff. I want you to be centered and comfortable in the uncomfortable. I want chaos to happen, and you're standing strong, watching it, picking your next move. Best footballers, soccer players in the world. You know what they do? They run less than everybody else. The best ones in the world. Do you know that? It's funny because you think the best soccer players in the world would actually cover more ground on the field. They don't. Like, if you watch the best, like a Ronaldo or, you know, all of his contemporary peers, they're actually, when everyone's kind of run, they're walking like this. They're walking the field. And they're about to position themselves right in the right spot. And everyone else says, what's going on, what's going on, what's going on? And so it's that strategic player. I want you to be more strategic in your life. Way more strategic. Way more strategic. But I also want you to be more comfortable. More comfortable, right? Who stresses themselves out a lot? Anybody? Just stop that. Who raised your hand and you already know how to de-stress yourself, you just don't do it? Yeah. I've worked with a guy, Brendon, I already know this stuff. I'm like, what's the stuff? He's like, you're going to tell me to breathe. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I know you're just going to tell me I should start meditating. I go, why do you think I'm going to tell you that? Well, everyone knows. I go, everyone knows what? Well, the science proves it. I'm like, do you meditate? Well, no, that's stupid. Okay, all right. It's going to take a while for me to understand, but I'll catch up there, buddy. This is what people do. They discount the foundational elements. Meditation, exercise, diet, sleep, supplementation, great friends, vulnerable sharing, pushing ourselves towards meaningful goals. We mess it all up. It's so simple sometimes. But in the comfortable life, I don't want you to be mad at it, because everyone who says you have to live outside your comfort zone, I'm like, oh, no. Comfort zone is good. Comfort zone, good. Okay. Just me? I think I'm killing it. I'm having a good time. Are you having a good time? I thought that was hilarious. Comfort zone, good. Good job, Brendon. Okay, that's all I'm going to remember of the whole day. I'm going to be eating tacos tonight. Then I'll go in my ice bath freezing in my ice bath, like in just total mortal pain. I'll laugh my ass off. Comfort zone. I promise you it's going to happen. Oh, gosh. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So the good news, all the good results you got in your life and are currently getting, it's happening in comfort zone. Bad news, you got to go beyond it. We all know that, right? Does anyone know what the other zone is beyond comfort? Uncomfort? No, the other zone, and this will explain a lot of your results. A lot of your results. And some of you have never been in the zone, and some of you need to get your butt back in that zone if you want to shift your results. It's the demand zone. Demand zone. This is where it's necessary to be better. You don't even get the choice, right? You must get better. It is an internal demand or an external demand. In the high-performance research, we call it psychological necessity. It is necessary for me to get better. It's necessary for me to develop. I don't have a choice. It's necessary. And other times, life does that. It becomes necessary for you to take life seriously. Some of you know my story in the demand zone. When I started all of this, I'd left a corporate job to start my first book and coaching and teaching. And I did what every new author does. I promptly went broke. And I was living in San Francisco, and I had no money. So I had to give up my apartment, move in with my then girlfriend, and I was in my comfort zone. I was like in survival mode. I was comfortable with just surviving, so I never succeeded beyond survival. Who has a family member like that? Yeah. See, survival is awesome, and it's the most dangerous thing to the human psyche. Isn't that crazy? Survival is necessary, and it's the most dangerous thing, because when you figure out how to survive with so little, when you figure out how to survive in a relationship by not making any noise and being quiet and not ruffling the feathers, not rattling the cage, not rocking the boat, whatever metaphor you want to use for the cage life, when you survive there and you get good at surviving, you forget to demand more of yourself. Can I get an amen on Thursday? Survival is dangerous. Survival is dangerous because if you get comfortable in survival, you won't push beyond the comfort zone. You won't push beyond survival. So you'll always only just pay off the credit card bills. You'll always only just go enough work so you don't get fired. You always do just enough not to get in trouble. You always do just enough to pay the bills, but you'll never go beyond because you can survive on nothing. I know that. I grew up in a house where my mom would drive 60 miles to save $2.10 on a gallon of milk. When we went shopping when I grew up, I don't know if anyone, you ever go shopping with your mom and she had 3 of the extra large frozen Ziploc bags full of coupons? And you went to the store and she drove the cart all around the store based on the coupons? She was hunting for the food based just on the coupons to save 10 cents here, 5 cents there. That was my mentality growing up. It's like, just survive, just get by. And if you don't have something demanding a little bit more, then you'll just stay there. I know that because I went broke, because I was allowed to go broke because I came from broke. And so I was broke. I made it okay. It's okay that I'm broke. Sucks, but I'm broke. I'll survive. Move in with my then girlfriend. We didn't even want to get, we wanted to wait until we got engaged before we moved in together, or at least married or something. We weren't ready for that. I moved in with her. I made it okay. I had a little laptop, and that laptop was, something I had to return back to work soon. I had my mom's fold-out 3-legged table. I put it in my girlfriend's bedroom because the apartment was small, so the little table went there, and it was right next to the bed, and the bed became my extended desk, so on the bed, I had all my bills, my invoices, my vision boards, my research papers, my notes, my journals, everything was on the bed during the day, and then I'd break it down at night usually. Well, there I was, comfortable each day. My girlfriend was paying for food and rent, and I get to be the artist. I'm doing my unique ability in my comfort zone. I'm an artist. I'm a writer. All writers are broke. It's normal. I guess you know what? I'm just going to write. I'm going to coach. I'm just what I'm going to do. And so weeks and weeks go by. Every day I'm faking it. She's getting up, ready to go to work. So I'm getting up, getting ready to go to work. She'd leave. I'd kind of wander around, nutty professor. I'd read some books. I'd go to the cafes in San Francisco, the fancy ones where the famous writers went. I'd get the croissant and the green tea, and I'd sit down so optimistic to write, and then it was hard. So I'd get up, and I need some inspiration. I'd go walk around Fort Mason. I need inspiration because I'm the artist. So I'd go do that, and then she'd come home, and she said, how's it going? I'm like, oh, it's so good. She said, you right? Oh, yeah, so many pages. So many pages today. So many pages today. And then this goes on for weeks and weeks and weeks. I'm making no money. I've paid for some online courses to learn how to sell a book, get a book deal, become a coach, do my own events. I've learned how to do, I got the logins, but I'm not using the logins. Some of you people in this room know what I'm talking about. Do you have GrowthDay? Oh, yeah. You ever log in? Well, you know, that's a different, I don't know. And so there I am, weeks and weeks and weeks, months and months and months. And because I had someone who was allowing and permitting, it was just fine. Is anyone in your life allowing you to play small? They love you, and yet that love, just like survival, is dangerous. Who knows what I'm talking about? Yeah, it's dangerous. Sometimes someone has loved you into a lower level. Their love, their compassion, their understanding allows you to be a lazy ass. That's our language from Montana. And so that's what she was allowing me to do. Now, she wouldn't have said that. No, he was trying, he was researching and everything because I was good at perpetuating that things were good, but they weren't good. Who's good at perpetuating the good? But it's kind of phony sometimes. It was phony. So one night, I'm phoning it around, phoning it in, trying to write. She comes in, it's late. I had a little bit of riff going, but not much. She comes in, I'm like, she walks in, oh yeah, I'm typing, here I go, yeah. And she walks in, gives me a little peck on the cheek to go to bed. She goes, okay, good night. I'm like, great, I'm just sitting here writing, I'm on a riff, okay. So she goes over, and I'm literally pretending to type. And she goes to get under the covers to go to bed. She gets under the covers to go to bed, and I look over, and I see the love of my life sleeping under the covers, under the weight of my bankruptcy bills. She's literally sleeping under my bills. And it was like, because none of us want to be the cause of lack or pain in our family's life. And when you see it, that your own inaction, your own lack of discipline, your own lack of fundamentals, when you can acknowledge it, and it's causing lack or pain for your family at a certain level. For us, we were broke. And I looked at that, and I saw her, and it just, and I was like, no more. Some point, the survival can't be enough. Some point, you faking that things are good, it's not enough no more. Some point, you just doing what's comfortable, it's not enough anymore. And somebody in your life needs you to show up. Can I get an amen on a Thursday? Somebody needs you. And when you tap into that, it's like, boom, it's another, whoa. It's like when there's another level of demand, something extra comes out. You ever see Jordan in Game 6? Right? The dude is sick with food poisoning and flu-ish feelings. I mean, it's bad. The demand on that game was so high, and he achieves a level of performance that's legendary in the hardest of circumstances. Why? Demand. He wouldn't have probably been able to do any of that if the demand wasn't that high. Sometimes you need to place yourself into a new group, a new company, a new level. Sometimes you need to have talks with your spouses again about goals. Sometimes you need to realize, oof, I've allowed my self-discipline, but my lack of self-discipline is hurting her. And you got to face it. You got to face the demands of life again. Not placate them, not avoid them, not pretend they're not there, not pretend you don't have to deal with it, because at some point, the bell tolls. I don't know what that means, but I've heard it before. At some point, demand. And here's the thing. If you're really good, you kept leveling up the demand on yourself. Aaron's like, Brendon, how do you do those big audiences in those arenas? I was with a friend the other night, and he's like, you have 2,000 people for 4 days? How are you going to survive that? And I was like, I just kept upping the demand on myself. I told myself one day, I'm going to learn how to stand on stage for 5-6 hours a day for 4 days. I'm going to learn how to do it. I'm going to learn how to protect my body, my energy, pull it off. I'm going to have to learn to get up there. I'm going to figure out how to do it. He was like, what are you talking about? I kept leveling up the demand. I said, you know what? No matter what I'm going to do, listen, no matter what I'm going to do, how do I go a little extra harder at it? Not in terms of time, but like challenging myself, right? You're going to make a great meal for your friends. Challenge yourself to do a little better. And that challenge mindset differentiates the most successful people in the world. They're doing the same thing as you. They're just going, how do I do a little more? Paula Abdul at the time, she told me this quote, I will never forget. She says, the great thing about going the extra mile in life is there's no traffic after the extra mile. Yeah. That's when your clients teach you new things, like, that's good. Because, when you go that extra mile, you go challenge yourself a little bit more. It's rare air of people who will demand of themselves. I know you get this concept. But if you want to be a great speaker, you have to challenge yourself to try new things. Some of you guys have seen I think it was on my YouTube or somewhere. I was speaking at a big conference. There was like 25,000 plus people. At the Superdome, I was super pumped about this. At the Superdome, I was like, yes, the Superdome. That was like, okay, I was really excited about it. I'm going to the Superdome. And I said, I'm not going to tell any of my stories. I'm going to use all new slides, tell new stories, and I'm going to find out. This happened to be, I think that was it was a Beachbody conference. And I said, oh, what's up, y'all? Maybe some of you were there. Awesome! I called them and I said, hey, what's your hardest move? They're like, what? Because, they teach exercise and stuff. I said, what's the hardest move? Like, what's Tony Horton's hardest move and Shalene John? What's their hardest move? So they told me the hardest moves that people fall down on. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm going to learn how to do those moves. And I'm going to do them in front of 25,000 people in a suit. I'm going to pull it off. I was like, okay. So I taught myself these moves, and they were hard. I mean, you can see it on YouTube. I mean, it was hard. It's like, it's a handstand donkey kick back to a backward one-handed bridge reach around. It's super hard. Oh, no. So I'm backstage with Tony, and I'm showing it to him. He's like, well, you're kind of doing it wrong when you do it like this. And so he's kind of coaching me. I go out there, okay. So then I go out to pregame, like to check out the stage, and I go out there. And the problem is the stage, it's like slick material. It's like slippery. Now, unbeknownst, what I'd done for 5 nights in a row, actually 5 weeks in a row, and then the 5 nights prior, I would wear a suit at home, and I'd be doing these 2 moves over and over and over and over and over. And Denise would just laugh because I'd be falling all over the place. She's like, why are you doing this? And it was this. I was like, I got to challenge myself. There's no earthly reason I was going to do that. Other than every speech I go, I'm going to challenge myself to do something new I've never done before. Every speech. It's why I'm one of 3 Americans who's ever done the Arena Slam. The Arena Slam is I spoke to all 72 arenas as the keynote in North America. Yeah, it's crazy. I said, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna figure out how to do it. I'm the third highest paid speaker on the planet. I'm like, I'm gonna figure out how to do this. 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 Okay, demand. So I practice. I go out there, and I got out there, I'm looking at the 25,000 people I'm walking, I'm like, I ain't doing this. This floor is slippery. These people, the echo on my voice in the arena was so huge. I was like, this would be the stupidest thing to ever try. Why go outside of this? I know how to get a standing ovation. If I do this and I fall, they might laugh. They might think I'm stupid. I get hired. They might ask for the money. I'm like, this could be really, what if I injure myself and they have to pull me out on an ambulance stretcher at a workout place? I was like, oh, this could be terrible. But then I thought, but if I do it and I fail, maybe some will appreciate it and they'll laugh and they'll clap. And that would be really unique. But if I do it and I pull it off, they'll freak out. Another phrase I just learned, I love this one. I just flew out of state to interview Matthew McConaughey. Yeah, it's up on my YouTube right now. But I went and we sat down, and it wasn't like an interview for his book or anything. I just wanted to have a conversation, see where he would go. And it was cool. But I asked him why people do that. Why do people have to go beyond the thing? Why do we have to step out there? And he goes, because you got to find out. Keeps me up at night if I don't find out. If I don't find out, got to find out. You got to find out what you're made of. You got to find out what you're made of again. When you're in the cage, you stop wondering. You didn't get curious. You didn't challenge yourself. You forgot. What are you made of? You forgot pushing because when you tried, they made fun of you. When you tried, you felt bad. But you haven't put yourself in the demand zone enough. And the reason most people stop here in life is a zone they never even thought about. A zone they've never even thought about. If you've seen me teach this before, they stop right here. They got an esteem zone problem. They got comfort. They're in a difficult situation. They can push themselves, but they can't see themselves beyond it. They can't see themselves beyond it. Their identity, their perception of self, they've never visualized or seen it. This is why everybody, Ed, myself, everybody in personal development since really about 1820s have pushed visualization so hard on you. Because the things you can do with your mind are unbelievable. The way that you can rev yourself up and get yourself in a state is unbelievable, but most people never do it, so they don't know. In college, when I decided I want to learn how to communicate, it was the first time I ever envisioned myself on a stage. And I would lay in bed visualizing myself on a stage, and it would make me sick. Anyone ever have that feeling? Like I would get sick in my stomach. I would be laying in bed visualizing, and I'd be sweating. Because I didn't know the power of my mind yet. I didn't know how my mind could change my energy, change everything in my body. I didn't know, but I just keep visualizing. Things well beyond my capability. When's the last time you laid in bed, visualized yourself doing something way beyond your capability? Way beyond. Have you done it recently? Raise your hand. Recently. Give yourselves a round of applause for those who raise your hand. That's not many. We forget how, just revving this thing up, I want you to learn how powerful your mind is, right? How powerful your mind is. Just gauge yourself right now. You know, the chicken hit about 15 minutes ago. So for those who are feeling a little lethargic, about 15 minutes ago, your food digestive system took over more energy from your brain. So your gut is in charge right now. Your brain is not, for those who don't know that, biology stuff. So right now, you might feel a little sluggish. Watch what happens without doing anything crazy. Just close your eyes, and here's what I want you to do, consciously and purposely. So this is nothing weird, no unconscious hypnosis stuff. I don't even know how to do that. With your eyes closed, what I want you to do is I want you just standing there, take a nice deep breath in, sip it out, and I want you to speed up your mind. I kind of want you to get a little bit like mischievous in your mind. I want you to get a little bit silly in your mind. I want you to rev up the engines a little bit in your mind, get a little enthusiasm, a little ambition in your mind. I want your mind to start going a little faster, like you're Einstein. Maybe you see something, you visualize something, there's colors, there's something popping in your vision. You just see something, you're just getting your mind razzed up a little bit. Maybe there's fireworks, maybe there's sounds, maybe there's visual colors going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Something is happening in your mind. It's turning on. It's turning on. It's like fireworks. It's like energy. It's like going to another level. It's just leveling it up, leveling up, leveling up. I want you to go up one more level, whatever that is. Just like speed up your mind, put your energy in a great place in your mind, just choosing it, finding it, seeing it, revving it up. Choosing it, finding it, seeing it, revving it up. Just go, a little higher, a little higher, a little higher. Just like turn back on, turn back on, turn back on. Like almost like you're revving up that energy so much like you're ready to kind of like run around the room. Like you're just getting this energy, you're like ready to bolt. You're strong, you're feeling powerful and capable, enthusiastic, energized, whatever it is. Just like speed it up, speed it up, speed it up, speed it up. And if you can do it, say yes. Yes. Say yes. Yes. Okay, check that out. Now open up your eyes. Now is it night and day to how you feel right now than a second ago? Raise your hand if it's true. That fast. You just did it. You didn't move, you didn't jump, you didn't have to, karate kick anybody. You just got your energy back. That's incredible. If you applied that same truth to seeing yourself do more incredible things when your eyes are closed, you put that kind of energy behind it every day, that's how I got better on stage. That's how I believed I could do crazy things on stage. That's how I became so high paid at it. I imagined myself in difficult coaching conversations when someone said, I don't believe you, I don't trust you, who do you think you are? I imagined myself in negotiations at $1 billion negotiation table. I just saw it, I pretended all the players, what they were talking about, what they were saying, and I just played these movies in my head. And there was little Brendon, that kid from Montana, doing crazy stuff. Coaching presidents, and then I coached presidents. Being on arenas, then I spoke in arenas. Making millions of dollars in a day, then I did it 30 times in a row. I just kept starting, I was like, I'm gonna figure this out. And I believed in my ability to figure things out, and I just kept using my mind over and over and over and over, and my esteem went up from it, not because I was perfect, and not because I was ready yet, because I used my mind to do it. Who follows what I'm talking about? Some of you, you've never applied your mind to your self-esteem, ever, in your whole adult life. You've never done it. You had a vision, you had a dream, you thought about it. I meditate about it, Brendon. I'm like, no, like a weapon, like every day, like honing that thing, seeing yourself there. You want to be a loving, amazing, caring person? See yourself being a loving, amazing, caring person with people, with your eyes closed, visioning it and seeing it. Like when I went out to McConaughey, everyone's like, were you nervous? I'm like, by the time I sat down with that guy, I did that like 10 times. It already happened. I was like, okay, right? That wasn't the hard part was the cameras and the lighting. Everything else was there, and I was like, that's it. Same thing when I sat down with Oprah. On the way over, I psyched myself up on the way over. Oh my God, she's gonna interview me for Motivation Manifesto, which I found out 1 in the morning. I gotta be over there at 8 in the morning. They're gonna interview me, and I'm like, oh my God. On the way over, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? Did I prepare enough? And okay, they told me Motivation Manifesto. What did I write in that book again? What was it about? All right, yeah, okay. And okay, get your words down, Brendon. And I start telling myself all these things that are limiting myself, and I stopped about a block from the hotel, and I'm like, whoa, dude, you are using your mind to lower your self-esteem right now. This is not gonna serve you. You need to be present. You're about to go get interviewed by Oprah. You know what you need to be? Happy. You know what you need to be? Confident. Dude, use your brain different. Everyone say it with me. Dude. Use your brain different. Turn the person left, right. Dude. Use your brain different. Yeah. And then you lose your body with it. Now everyone bouncing slightly. There you go. Take 5 deep breaths. I started breathing on the way over to those interviews. I was getting ready. I was going to open up my body and my mind for something more possible. And I know we don't always say that, so let's just get ourselves in a good place. Are you ready to get yourself in a good place? All right, let's just get ourselves in a good place. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to do a Qigong. For those who've never done it with us before, we're just going to open up the different energy meridians in your body. If you don't believe in energy meridians, no problem. We're going to teach you another simple thing. Do you believe in nerve endings? If you do, you will love this. All we're going to do is we're going to energize your body by slapping your nerve endings. This is so simple. That's what Qigong really is. We're going to take good energy like this. The different times, we're going to do full body Qigong this time, not just down here. We're going to do our whole body because I want you to see how great you can feel. But first, I want you to hold an idea in your head. I want you to hold an idea in your head right now that it's time to activate the next level of challenge, of demand, of esteem for yourself. And as you're thinking about that, holding that level, I just want you to think about it because I'm going to ask you to hold it because I want you to understand there is another level. And you might not know it yet, but it's going to be an important one. And don't worry about writing this down. We'll come back to it. The highest level is when you're in the service zone. Maybe you were comfortable and good at something, capable, talented, passionate. Maybe you got forced into it or you pushed yourself. Maybe you believed yourself and you pushed yourself and you comforted it and you aligned all of it. But then when you went into service zone, you decided to contribute, make a difference, care for somebody else, treat people well, be a leader. Something went up. There was an ambition there. You decided you want to make a contribution. My last question in my life, bleeding out on the hood of a car, was, did I matter? I was a 19-year-old kid. I never saw myself mattering. I never imagined myself doing anything like that. I never saw myself as a philanthropist. I never saw myself as somebody giving, serving, teaching nonprofit. I didn't see any of that stuff that we end up doing. I want you to give yourself permission as we do this. I want you to put some love in your body and in your heart for yourself to go to another level, to find that for yourself, to discover for yourself right now another level of esteem and vision and service. That raising your ambition thing, even though I know so many of you are already successful, but some of you are successful and you're bored. And some of you are successful and you're in the comfortable life, but sometimes the comfort life, just like survival life, isn't so good because you get bored. And you're like, why isn't there more? What's going on? I thought I'd be more happy. I thought I'd be more confident. I thought life would feel more pop. And you stop seeing yourself at the next level. You got all the success. And to get the success, you visualized, you dreamed, you thought about it, you pushed yourself, and then you got it, and you let off the gas of some of that mental work about seeing yourself win. Seeing yourself win. Seeing yourself win. Everyone say it with me. Seeing yourself win. Yeah. So I want to do some self-care for you and open up your energy, but I also want you to see it and feel it and sense some good energy in your body again. Many of you haven't even felt your body for weeks and months and years. Like, you're all here. A lot of people who are in the comfortable life, they're all here. They're heady. They're always in their head. They disconnected from their heart and their body, and they're like, I don't know why I don't feel life anymore. Oh, you're so smart. Sometimes your brain is so smart, it takes away from feelings everywhere else. Anyone know what I'm talking about? You kind of lost that feeling. Everyone asks, why do you do Qigong? I'm like, oh, because I need to check in with the body. If I don't open up the body and check in, I'm just like a nutty professor all day, right? I will just wander around, and all of a sudden, I'll research for 16 weeks straight. I'll forget to eat. I won't have any joy in my life because I'll just forget. I'll just be researching papers. That's not beneficial. I have to check in. So let's do a little check-in, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to do full body Qigong. I'm going to start with your hands. And let me just show you some of the motions we're going to do. We're just going to put good energy into our body. That's all we're doing. Good energy into the body, right? And we just happen to do it kind of 1 inch at a time. So we start here, and it just looks like this. And we'll go up to our shoulder. And we're going to do that both arms. We're going to do that on our sides. We're going to do it on our legs. And we're going to do it on our back. And don't worry, I'll guide you through. And if you think this is totally stupid, perfect. Perfect. Now is the question, are you a man or woman of science? Because if you think it's stupid and you've never done it before, science. You don't know until you've tried it. You have a hypothesis. Now it's time to test it. Because most people think good ideas are stupid and they've never tried them. So let's just see if this ancient art that's way older than all of us can open up our body. So first, could you just gauge your energy in your body a little bit? Where are you? Are you on a scale of 1 to 10? You're kind of stiff, a little tired, feeling jet lag, the food, anything. Just 1 to 10, like you might be a 6 or 7 energetically. Just see where you're at. And let's see how fast we can shift it as a simple practice. Okay? So simple. Let's start with your left hand. And we're just going to go like this on the back of the hand. And I want you to try something. Deep rhythmic breathing as we're doing this. Breathe in, breathe out. And you're just coming up 1 inch at a time, nice and slow. You're doing a great job. This is where the hotel staff walk by this room and go, what does he do in there with them? Lower the shoulder and nice and strong. Really release that shoulder. Good. Cycle your legs a little bit. Just moving them a little bit. Nice and strong. A little bit more on the shoulder. Breathe. Oh, that's good. Okay, next side. Let's go. You're doing great. Breathe. You might even try putting a smile on your face. Pretend you're satisfied with yourself. You're happy. You're happy with yourself. You're happy to be at GrowthDay. Who's happy to be at GrowthDay? Oh, you're doing good. Oh, that's good. Good energy. Good energy. I like that. Who's happy to be at GrowthDay? Okay, more firm on the shoulder. More firm on the shoulder. Good, 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 good. Now, at the waist, we're just going to come up from the waist up to the armpit. I know it sounds really weird. A little more firm. There you go. Breathe. Remember, rhythmic breathing. You're breathing in and out in one steady stream. Good. All the way up, right below the armpit. Other side. You're doing great. Breathe. Oh, yeah, I see you. Okay. Seen some color out there. You're coming back to life. Good, good. Now, you're going to lift your left leg if you can, and you're going to start at your ankle and come up your leg. Test the balance. Test the balance. Hey, front row, you're killing the game. Woo! Front row. What happened to you? Can you stand on one leg and do this? If not, mobility is going to be bad for you in old age. Now you're going to reach around and pat your butt. Really on your gluteus maximuses? Some of your maximuses are more maximus. You did a good job. Pat the butt hard. Nice and strong. You've done a good job. Good, good, good. Put that one down. Lift up the other leg. Ankle. We're going up 1 inch at a time. Breathe. 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 Okay. If you struggle, it's okay. You can sit down and do it, but I encourage you to try standing. Good balance. Did you know balance leads to longevity? Wild. You don't fall and break your hip and die sooner. Okay. On the butt, nice and strong. 1 on the butt, 1 on the hamstring. Okay. Good, good. Stand, bounce. Okay, now, back. We're opening up that big meridian. 4 deep breaths, go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. That's 4. Stand, bounce a little bit. Shake, 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 shake. GrowthDay, how you feeling out there? How you feeling? Okay. Now, okay, good. Put your feet just a little bit further than shoulder width apart. A little bit further. Okay? Good. Arms out and down. And up like you're flying. Arms out front when you're down, and then you fly. Down and fly. Good. Down and fly. Down and fly. Down. Hold it. Hey, good job, guys. Hey, you're all looking good. Okay, up. Down. Down. Hold it. Okay, now make sure you keep breathing. If you stop breathing, you will fall over. Keep breathing. Now, with your right foot, imagine pushing that heel into the ground, the right foot. Keep breathing. And now go rotate the weight around on your right foot. You feel it in the toes, on the side, push. Yeah. Now on the left foot, heel in the ground, mid, toes, outside of the foot. Oh, you're doing so good. Stand up, breathe, down, up, and let's bounce. How you doing in GrowthDay? Okay, you're doing good. Turn the person left, right, shake them, say, you're looking good. You're looking good. Okay, try this. Now, keep breathing. Don't lock your knees, please. Now, close your eyes. And I want you to imagine the best version of you in this energy. The best version of you. See the best version of you. Think of the best version. If you feel in any way dizzy, just move your legs around a little bit. March in place. Take some breaths if you have to. Oh, yeah. See something higher of yourself. See yourself in a place of service. See yourself being an amazing mom. See yourself giving. See yourself happy. Yeah. See yourself confident. Keep breathing. Breathe in like you're happy. Yeah. Make this fun. Put a smile on your face. See yourself joyous. Like you're seeing yourself so joyous you can't help but put your chest out a little bit and smile. Oh, yeah. You see yourself joyous. Feel that energy. Feel that energy. Feel the energy around your body right now. Just notice the energy around your body. Can you feel the energy around the room? How about just inches outside of your body? Can you feel any energy to the person to your left or right even? Yeah, can you take in some more energy? Put a big smile on your face and just think of the best you, that future you that you love, that future you who's so capable and beautiful and loving and service-driven and energized. Can you see that you? Can you think of that you for a minute? Could you just reach out with your eyes closed, reach out and touch that you's hand. Just like almost you're high-fiving that future you. Could you high-five the future you a little bit? You're just seeing that you is energized, that you is beautiful, that you is service, that you in gift, that you that's powerful, that you that's made it, that you that is giving, that you that's such a good dad, such a good mom, that you that's having fun with the family and that's having fun in the world, that you that's focused and crushing it each day. Can you give that future you a high five a little bit because you're doing a good job? How you doing, GrowthDay? Let's go. So what's this? I want you to close your eyes real fast one more time. What is this energy? Could you label this? Where are you? What's your state of mind? What is this energy you feel? What's the label? Give it just for yourself, What would you call that? Because I want you to call on this again. You're going to call on this energy again, this place of mind again. What is this? That smile. What is this? That sensation. What is this? What are you seeing and feeling? What would you call this thing? What would you call this thing? Okay, you got it. You got it. You got to high-five those future yous again. You got to come back into this room. You got to come back into your life again. You got to remember. You have to remember GrowthDay. You have to remember Strivers. You have to remember that this isn't something you do at a conference once in a while. How many of you, this is the first time in a long time you did anything like that to visualize or to think or to feel the future you, energized and happy? Be honest, first time in a while. Let me hear it. What's it sound like when you do it? You feel good? Yeah. So good. I promise to come back to these ideas here in a minute. But I want to illustrate for you real quickly where we've been. Who's having a good day at GrowthDay now? Do you feel that? Who feels a different energy about their body? Right now even, right? Not only did you just probably revitalize your energy, you revitalized your identity. Write it down. Some people, they work out throughout the day. I have friends, you know what? Every hour they go and they lift up their kettlebells to energize themselves. They got their walking treadmills so they can be more productive, and they're on their walking treadmill desk so they can be more productive. They do all these amazing biohacks to get that extra mitochondrial mechanism firing. They got all the things, and they don't even know themselves. We've done all these things to statistically measure ourselves, to get all the stats on ourselves, the quantified self. And most people don't have a vision of self. And so sometimes you're so busy, you lost connection with yourself. That best version self, that energized self, that beautiful self. How many of you would take a 10-day challenge now and just try to do that activity we just did? Would you do that at home once a day? Would you try that? Once a day. All we did, the rules. Open up your body, visualize yourself confident, happy, joyous, successful, loving, caring, giving. Those are some of my values. You find your own values. Just see yourself doing it. Everyone's like, but is that just dumb visualization? I'm like, yeah. But how do you think your brain works? I mean, we are, in some ways, so simple as a human species. Like, we're a very simple animal in so many ways. We think we're so complex, but we're actually not that. A lot of what drives us is our identity, how we see ourselves. Raise your hand if you follow. And so a lot of people, when you hit your lid, if you're like, Brendon, I have so much challenge in my life, I can't take it anymore. What did you just say? I have so much challenge in my life, I can't take it anymore. I can't handle it. That's the stuff of confidence. That's the stuff of esteem. That's the stuff of who you believe yourself to be. So when we move on up to these things, everything shifts. I remember I was with my buddy Randy, I don't know, a couple of years ago teaching this concept to a bunch of financial traders. And Randy's like, do you think they're gonna like this? I said, I got this, I think they're gonna really get this. And he's like, where do you think they're gonna get stuck? I'm like, well, they're gonna get stuck in these top two. But then the CEO who's sitting with us is like, that's the thing. We have a lot of this, but we're not this yet. We need to be this as a company. We got to get up here as a company. And what we do is say, well, I'm not good. I'm not the greatest. A couple of nights ago, I had the blessing of flying. I can't remember. So I did the McConaughey thing. I had a minute of a break, and then I went out to Stephen Furtick's church, Elevation Church in Charlotte. You know Stephen? He was just here in Austin, if you know. He just sold out the Moody Center 2 nights ago. So yeah, like 12,000 people in the Moody Center. It was crazy. And they do worship music. I know not everyone here is into religion or spirituality. I'm just telling you the story. So I went out to see his church in Charlotte, and he's been preaching on Gideon recently, and he was telling the story of how in the Bible, whether or not you are religious at all, stick with me, that there's a character in the Bible named Gideon, and Gideon believes that he's the least of his family. That's his thing. So God's asking him to be a warrior, to go to war and save a people. And he goes, me? Why me? Why? I'm the least of my family. And then he starts asking the Lord, why is all this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? And it was such a cool passage because I learned this from Stephen because he was telling me about it, how he's saying, why me? I'm the least. Why does all this happen? And then in the Bible, God doesn't even answer it. He doesn't try to explain all those things at all. He says, go in the strength you have. Go in the strength you have. Sometimes we think we have to have everything figured out when we're in the cage, or we want to go to another level in our comfortable life, and we're like, I don't know. I don't have enough. I'm not enough. I don't know anything. I don't know. And the Lord's saying, go in the strength that you do have. And it's really powerful. And I just saw him teach literally 12,000 people that. And it was unbelievable. And it's such a powerful idea, isn't it? That no matter what you're wondering, am I enough? Can I do this? Go anyway. Go in the strength you do have. For some of you, that's a spiritual connection. Some of you, that's just like, no, you've been through so much. You give yourself so little credit. And why do I tell you this? Because so many people in the comfortable life, listen, I know people on covers of magazines who think everyone thinks they have everything. They are in the comfortable life. I'm working with an NFL quarterback right now, in the comfortable life. And you're like, no, can't be in the comfortable life. I'm like, hey, the comfortable life is better than the cage life. Can I get an amen on a Thursday? Hey, it's a leg up, but there's this thing. There's this other level, this other layer of life, a different one. It's not caged and comfortable. By the way, again, comfortable is good, but there's other levels to comfort too, right? Because you can be comfortable and bored. And that's what happens for a lot of people. They're comfortable, but they're bored. They lost that pursuit of something. They lost that identity, that vision of their future self. And that's where I say there's this other life. We call it the charged life. The charged life, or the called life. It's a higher level of energy, a higher level of enthusiasm, a higher level of identity that sees yourself in a very different place. You know what most people do when they see themselves or think of themselves? They diminish themselves. They're in the cage. Or they don't give themselves credit. They're comfortable. They've done good. I'm fine. But they don't give themselves enough credit. They don't recognize their strength. They've had all these successes in their life, but they never integrated the win. The wins. You've had a lot of wins in these last couple of years too. You survived. You're here. You still have the intention to grow. That's a win. And if you never look at the wins you have and take them in, your identity is the same as you were in high school. A lot of people are in adult bodies carrying around the same perception of self as teenage years. If I had stayed mentally the same broken, poor, young kid from Montana who was mistreated, who was beaten, who was discounted, who had to work 3 jobs, who went broke, who failed his first career, who didn't know what he was doing, who threw up on a stage one time, starting his career on a stage, threw up, who failed and failed and failed, who went near bankruptcy. If my esteem, my vision of self was still there, I'd be still caged. Who follows? You got to upgrade that self-image now to be in the called life, the charged life. There's a higher level of energy that's got to start rattling in your brains. You got to be like, oh, shoot, I still got some magic in here. You know what I'm saying? I know a lot of successful people, they forgot they got magic in here. Guys, they forgot. They're going through that. Here's the thing. It's so crazy, guys. Please listen. They're going through the day successful. You understand? They got money. Their confidence might even be high. They got all the reasons, but something that they don't see themselves anymore. In the charged life, you can do what we did. You can close your eyes and see the beautiful version of yourself. You can close your eyes and think about that and get connected to it and be excited about it. Like that's where you go, ooh, I want to be healthier. You can see yourself lighter, more flexible, stronger, moving through space. All of a sudden, you're like, it's not just like, I need to lose 5 pounds. It's like, no, I can see a different vision for my life. And you're connected to that vision for your life. You're connected to the vision of the best of who you are, but you're connected. There's something different. It's you see and visualize yourself again. Some of you, in the last couple years, you got into that thing of waiting for life to change and responding to the next crisis. And you haven't looked forward, and you haven't looked within at a level enough that has energized you. That's the secret. To look within and look forward at a level that energizes you. What's the word? Energizes. Write it down. You need to look within and look forward at a level that energizes you. And some of you go, I don't even like myself. I'm like, that's the point we're talking about. You're hanging on to an image that was created in the cage, and you haven't generated a new image. You're different now. Who's different than you were 5 years ago? I'm way different than I was 5 years ago. Way different. I want you to be different. It's okay to change and shift. Entrepreneurs in the room, your challenge with your team and your company is they're still thinking like 3 and 5 years ago. They don't have the vision internally, culture, and they don't have the vision future enough to energize them to shift into higher performance. Their performance might be in the demand zone that you give them. I want you to hear that, CEOs in the room. You think, what's wrong? I give them the goals. Brendon, please come in and help me with my business, Brendon. I got KPIs. I got OKRs. I got professional managers. I got a comp package that you wouldn't believe. What's wrong with my people? I'm like, nothing's wrong with the people. They're either very comfortable where they're at, or the demands are really there and they're pushing, but they don't feel it yet. In sports, it's the team what? spirit. It's not there yet. If you haven't read Phil Jackson's 11 Rings, highly recommended to see how somebody, a coach, can tap a whole team into a different level of energy and win 6 NBA championships with one team, 5 with another, a whole different set of players. Very impossible to do, right? It's just like, we got to tap. This is what I want you to get into. I want to get in your head here. There's another level for you. A vision and connection, enthusiasm back in your life. Who wants some enthusiasm back in your life again? You know, just like, oh, I want to be alive again, please. But remember, the power plant doesn't have energy, yeah. You got to generate it at a different level, at a different level. I want you to embody gratitude. Do you know the huge difference between the caged, comfortable, and called life is the embodiment of gratitude? Not just the practice of writing it down, which we have minimized it to because the American culture is taught to make everything so simple. You know, the media teaches us that literally my whole career, hey, could you dumb this down, Brendon? Could you make this less complex? You know, you have this framework here, it's too many boxes and scribbles. I'm like, I'm explaining human behavior. It's too complicated. I'm like, I'm explaining human behavior. They're like, could you dumb it down? And so we've dumbed down gratitude as just a simple practice. Could you 5-minute journal it? Could you write down one sentence? Could you just do this one thing? No. That's not what it feels like in the called life. Not what it feels like in the conscious life. Not what it feels like when you attain that level of real freedom and charge in your life. You embody gratitude. You feel it. You sense it. You move with it. It's hanging on you. It's there. It's in all your pockets and all your eyes and orifices, and it's just everywhere. It's up in you. You can't do nothing about it. It's just there. It's so part of you, and most people have so many things to be grateful for, and when I ask them, what are you grateful for? Well, you know, the kid didn't eat the dog. They have no energy to anything they say. I want you to start a practice today, and again, I know we have a lot to go in these next couple of days. I want you to start a practice of more energetic speaking. When you talk about something you are grateful for, I want it to sound like you're embodying gratitude. I want it to sound like you feel it. It's different. I want you to learn to do that, even with strangers. You want to shock your family? Go back home and express gratitude to them and feel it this time. I love you, honey. You're so helpful. Oh, my God. And you're like, what happened to the passion in our relationship, Brendon? We were so in love. I'm like, have you heard how you talk to each other? You're boring the librarians. Like, what are you hushing and whispering for? It's like, man, if you were in the Burchard household and you heard, well, you shouldn't hear, I'm telling you what, you have to talk with energy to your partner. You still have to do that. You still have to do that. So as you talk to each other, gratitude, embody. What are you grateful for? Second, where do you feel right now? Caged, comfortable, or charged? And why? Be honest, because none of them are good or bad, because it's like a roller coaster, right? There's areas of my life in the last 2 years I felt a little trapped, you know? I decided to hire 65 people in 18 months. That was like really hard to do, you know? And it like took over a lot of my 2 years. Like I was like, okay, we're gonna hire a lot of people. We hired a lot of people. And it was like, whew, that was a lot. I was like, okay. So I can say, in that part, that was hard. And at some point, I was upset about it. No problem. That's not bad. You also understand? Even though I say caged, comfortable, and charged life, isn't it true? Sometimes you're charged in your fitness and your physical body, but one of your relationships feels a little trapped, caged, not good. So just be honest with each other. Where are you? Where's somewhere in your life? What are you sensing about this? Do you feel like you're caged, comfortable, charged? And why? Be honest. Not everyone has to be up and happy all the time. That's not what this seminar is about. Hopefully you heard that and sensed that from me and Ed's opener. Third thing I want you to talk about. What is a vision that you have? Something that does get you excited. Like when you think about your future self, what is that? when I was asking you to see yourself, what were you seeing? What was different? And it might just sound like, you know what? I see myself happier and funnier and laughing again. Wouldn't that be beautiful? If that's all you shared, I see myself happier and laughing again, enjoying life again. It can be that simple. Some of you might be like, oh, I see myself doing this thing or mastering this skill or being on this show. Like, I don't care what it is, but like, what do you see? What energizes you? What energizes you when you see it? 3 simple things. What are you most grateful for? And then, where do you feel? In any way, caged, comfortable, charged, and you can choose. I want you to get used to the language here. And then, describe a little about that thing you see about yourself in the future, the best that you can. Let's talk about vision again. Can we talk about vision? Yes? I know we can, because you're the one. You get the opportunity. So everyone bring the joy and go. This can be your day for personal growth. This can be that day you committed to and you remember and you go, that was the day I got myself a community. I got better coaches. I committed to making my life the absolute best that I could. This is that day. Make today your growth day. Click the button on this page and sign up right now.